from the floor of the CME Group, Tim Haefke, on Monday, November 3rd. Here today with Mr. Top Steps Update, but I am Top Notch Trading. And I'm going back to last week when I came up and I was talking about the Fibonacci levels and Fibonacci this and even Mr. Fibonacci. And by the way, does anybody know Fibonacci's first name? Ah, that's a clue in there, but I'll let you know. It's Leonardo, like the guy that did the painting of the Mona Lisa. But anyway, we're talking about Fibonacci, and I bet you Leonardo is scratching his head on that move the S&P has made. Since making that low of 13 even in the mini, 14 even in the big contract, there's been a one-dimensional move higher, higher, higher. And I'm bringing you up this chart, and I'm pointing you to the last top up here, to this low, all the way down here. Now look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Every day we've come in, and you see right here, there's a day that we didn't even see the previous day's high, and it gapped from there. And then it continued 2 days later, and this is the gap I'm a biggest concern right now. Because look at how big this gap was. And it was another day we didn't even bother to test the previous day's high. And believe it or not, every day since we've made that low, we've been marching, making higher highs and higher lows on a daily chart. And that's the daily big chart. I'm not going to worry about the mini, but I will show you the mini daily chart as we continue here. But here, another day. So it's one time we never tested the previous day. 2 times, which is the big gap. What makes this of concern is it goes back to here. Look at the consolidation here. So believe me, this will be a destination if we ever can see another pullback from these highs. But boy, they're making contract highs as I speak. But then we keep continuing every day. A higher high, a higher low, and then we gapped here. Another day where we never saw the previous day's high. Taking out the Fibonacci levels in the meantime, and that's why I'm saying Leonardo, he's scratching his head. And then we come into today. We don't even come close. We have another fairly large gap from Friday's high to this morning's open. So what's going on is a continuation. The bulls got him by the horn. Now let's go to the next chart, and I'll show you this on the mini. Meanwhile, I take a low with this last week's high is 1675 that the actual mini made before the open. What happens? You come in, 16 quarters the overnight high. We come in, we open up today, we take them, shake them, bake, and we go back up and we make a 17 high in the mini, 16 half in the pit. So we're awful toppy up here right now. But look at, here's the settle gap. Here's a settle gap. Here's a settle gap. I mean, and here's this main gap that I'm talking about, which I think is of interest. If we go back to here where there's consolidation of bringing it down to the downside here. So believe me, if we look at the halfway point, that's a 1913, 100 points from the bottom, but now it's more than 100 points from the new contract highs they've made. So let's move forward because the bulls have got it by the horn. Next chart, please. This is where I want to go back to. And weeks ago, I told you that ever since back in 2011, we found a high. And then in 2012, we found a high, and they came back down. And we found the last low of 2012 that led us all the way up. So we have our, you can't see the low here with this low and with the last high. And we've been inside this channel trend. And we never hit the higher low all of 2013. In here, and then finally in 2014, we come up, we're pounding it, pounding it, pounding it, and we made that last move. Our target was this downside of the channel trend. Well, we just missed it. They made a 13 even low. Our target was 0940 on the channel trend. So now it's an ascending channel trend, and with this move, just look at it. Next chart. Here it is on a daily. We come down to a daily, and we miss it here. But just look how many times. It just boom, boom, all the time. There was 1 or 2 days that we settled above this. But it doesn't count because it's the weekly that counted. Even though we did breach it on a weekly, we never settled above this. 1 or 2 times on a daily. And it came back down. Oh, maybe got about 50% retracement off these moves. Then it comes back. And when they finally threw the rug, pulled the rug out, They came all the way down here trying to probe to find this channel, bottom of the channel trend. They never found it. So what's going on right now? On a daily, it'll change because it's a day-to-day. But let's go to the weekly again. And the weekly for this week says it's about 2058 and change right now, okay? That's our real upside objective, and I believe on a daily, it's 49 and change. But tomorrow it'll be different. This week, 58.30 is our target, about in that area. And I want to give you one more shot of the final chart that I want to show you something of interest. Here, this is a continuation chart, okay, that brought us to this high, that took us to the down, where we almost got to the bottom of the channel of the trend. However, even though the D's contract right now, even today, is making new contract highs, and it's awful toppy up there with that 16.5, 17, 16.75, 17 high in the mini today, 16 quarter on the overnight before we open, and all this thing is happening at a fast pace. But right before we settled on the September contract, the Thursday to Friday night, they made one big spike move, and it doesn't really show up unless you go on a continuation and go on CQG on a daily continuation. You can see the September contract made the all-time high at 2022.5. If you look here, it settled at 2019 quarter. So I'm putting out today, 2019 quarter is a key target right now that they are looking for. And if we can hold that and they don't trade above this 22.5, we could see some back and fill here, coming back down to these lows. But boy, look at what this thing is forming. It's kind of a inverted head and shoulders. And if we draw our heads and our shoulders right here, we could see it. And what it is, you flip it, and it gives us our objective. On a channel trend, it's 58.30 and so on. And I'm going to leave it at that because I'll let you guys figure out what the move is on a measured move of this inverted head and shoulders. Have a good day, and we'll see you maybe next week or Wednesday at the earliest.